I have with me Kenyan Parham, a political strategist and think tank founder. She called herself Wonder Woman with the melanin quotient. What is that? Well, first of all, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I guess, Wonder Woman with the melanin quotient. My mother raised me to be a Renaissance girl. She wanted me to be a Jane of all trades, and always told me, you're Wonder Woman. You can do whatever you'd like to do. Except for the fact that when I finally looked up what Wonder Woman looked like, she didn't look like me. So I said, well, then I'll be Wonder Woman with a melanin quotient.
Are you liberal or conservative?
I'm liberal.
You're liberal.
Proudly.
And what is a liberal? Especially for a millennial, what is define liberal?
So I'd rather, if we're going to attach titles, I'd rather attach progressive, right?
Okay.
Versus liberal. I am a woman. I'm a Black woman. And my opinions, I cannot detach how I self-identify and how the world identifies me from the way that I feel politically. As a strategist, though, I've had to divorce my personal beliefs from working with candidates and clients who may not fall in the same end of the spectrum as myself. But I'd like to think that that means that I'm deeply concerned about the welfare of people, about our quality of life, about our access to education, to be able to fulfill the rights entitled to us by the promise that this nation made to people who look like me and people who don't look like me.
Are you a Christian?
I am. Mm-hmm.
You're a Christian. Do you think illegal aliens in this country should have the right or be able to vote?
I think if they are contributing tax-paying citizens, I think that they should have an opportunity to participate in civic life and be civically engaged. I think that there should be a pathway to, of course, the nuances of all that you have to kind of work out. But I do think that any contributing member of a society should have the opportunity to participate in said society.
And so if I'm hearing you correctly, you believe that an illegal alien who is a non-citizen, and they broke the law to get here, they should have the right to vote. Are you saying that, just to be clear?
I'm saying I think that, firstly, I'd like to scratch that question. Like, I'm not really comfortable with that question, but just to understand what you're asking for, is that something we can do? Can we scratch that?
Yeah, Kelly?
Can we scratch that question?
What do you mean scratch it?
That wasn't on the list of questions that you guys sent.
Well, it's about voting ID laws.
But you're asking me if an illegal alien should have the right to vote?
Yeah.
Hey, why don't we just move on?
Yeah, I don't really want to answer that question.
You don't want to answer that?
Mm-mm.
And why not?
I mean,
give a justification if she'd like to move on to the next question. When Kelly and I went over before this kind of
Is that a bad question?
It's not a bad question, but I
Yeah.
think it's complicated, and I think that,
see why we can't just move on to the next question.
Can we just move on to the next question? Is that possible?
Okay, you don't have to answer anymore. You definitely.
Okay.
Let's see. I just lost my stuff here. I hit the wrong. So you don't want to answer that, huh?
Well, because here's the thing, right? Like, I obviously believe in a pathway to citizenship. I think that
right, and I understand it's a different question. I understand that.
I think the way that you're asking the question, though, is what frames it odd for me. Do I believe an illegal alien should have the right to vote?
Right.
Not while they're an illegal alien, but I think that.
You answered the question already.
So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think that. I think that contributing members of society should find a way to participate in civic life. One of the things that I talk about all the time is that civic engagement. Being civically engaged does not mean that you just participate at the voting box, in the ballot box. And I think that there's opportunities for those who are undocumented in our community to participate and be civically engaged and be counted while they are on their pathway to citizenship, where they can, legally participate at the ballot box.
Okay. I do want to say, any question that you have a right not to answer a question. So you're not like, under. You're not going to jail
No, I'm clear.
if you don't answer.
Okay.
I saw a video of you on T.D. Jakes' show that's on the Oprah Network, and and this was right after the presidential election, and you said, and I want to be correct in the quote, you said you didn't like the phrase "taking America back." Can you explain that to me? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because that phrase confuses me.
What way?
I want to know. I want to know who they're when it is said. When I have heard it said, let me qualify.
Right.
Let me qualify the quote. When I have heard "Let's take America back" again, I heard it most pervasively during the 2016 election cycle from Trump supporters at Trump rallies and rallies of the alt-right.
Right.
And so when I hear that, it's confusing to me. As a black woman who knows her history, I'm confused by that. You want to take America back. I don't really know what that means, because my understanding of history, and I think their understanding of history, might be a little bit different.
Have you ever asked anyone who said that or used that phrase, what do you mean take America back?
I have.
And what did they say? What type of response have you got?
Normally I get, some runarounds. It normally has to do with, big government,
Right.
bringing government back to the people, which as a strategist I know to be buzzwords. I mean, those are the kinds of sayings that my colleagues and I stood up in our offices and create, and folks end up putting on posters and T-shirts. But what I know is I identify those to be, dog whistle sayings, that mean different things to different people. And so as a woman of color, it's a trigger for me to hear things like, you want to take America back. And I think it's like
what
that.
What does it mean to you when you hear it as a black woman?
As a black woman, I think, there's some serious undertones, some serious nationalistic undertones, some serious supremacist undertones in comments like that. Taking America back from whom? And I think that statement can't be disconnected from the fact that we've just left the first tenure of our nation's first black president.
Do you feel the same way when you hear the phrase "making America great again"? You get the same weird feeling?
I do.
You do. When I hear it and when I say it, I'm saying take America back from the liberals. Take America back, because liberals tend to destroy. They don't build, they destroy. Meaning that high taxes, restrictions, open borders, weak military, the destruction of the family.
Tell me how you really feel about it.
Whereas conservatives, when they say take America back or make it great again, they're referring to that. It doesn't mean go back to slavery.
I think I could go with that if I hadn't heard and been in the space where yellings of "Take America Back" is immediately followed, or immediately those sayings come right after hearing comments about immigration, hearing comments that are Islamophobic. If I hadn't personally witnessed the connection of those two,
right,
I might be able to drop the melanin off of it and the ethnicity off of it and not take it.
When you hear me say it now, does it make sense? What they mean when they say
it never
take it back?
did not make sense to me.
I mean, do you agree with it
English,
now?
when
You heard me say it right now. Do you agree with me? Oh yeah, that makes sense. And I said, well,
I don't think that liberals destroy. So I don't think we would look at it the same way.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that we destroy. But I can understand where somebody who agrees with that sentiment could line up that.
What do you think of President Trump's administration so far? The job that he's doing so far. What do you think of it?
I just think I think it's terrifying.
Terrifying.
I do. I think it's
In what
terrifying
way?
because firstly, our government isn't being run, isn't staffed up even the way that it should be. Are you
terrified by that? That it's not staffed up.
I just think that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and I think that something really big and dangerous happened in the 2016 election cycle. And outside of the dangerous narratives, outside of kind of the hate and the sentiments and the anger that was fueled during the cycle, outside of voter disenfranchisement. Outside of all of that, I think that we are at a very critical time in our nation's history right now to think about what it means to have full faith and confidence in our American institutions.
Yeah. But
You
give
know,
me an
boots on the
example
ground.
of something that you're terrified of. I still
Okay,
don't.
so
I don't know what that is yet. I really would like to know.
Sure. So one thing that terrifies me are the seemingly rushed desire to put out policies that are incomplete, unconstitutional, all for the guise of making it seem like he's getting things done.
Give me
To
an
me, that is
example of one
the travel
policy.
ban.
The travel ban.
Rushed, extremely rushed. The rollout of it was absolutely uncoordinated. State agencies had no idea what was going on. Intergovernmental agencies had no idea what was going on. There was no press release. There was nothing.
I see. So just to be, for my understanding, is that he put out a travel ban on 7 Muslim countries where terrorists seem to come from, and there's no vetting of these people.
What tells us that terrorists come from there, though?
I just want to ask this, where, there's no vetting of these people, so he put a temporary ban on travel from those countries. Are you saying you were terrified because he did it so fast?
No, I'm terrified because it's misinformed.
So are you in support of him doing that, though? Should he put a temporary ban on those countries?
No.
You don't want one at all?
Nope.
And why not?
Because terrorists don't come from there. If I look at the last cases of domestic terrorism, they look like white males in America.
Like who?
If I look like Dylan Roof, like Dylan Roof, killing 9 folks in a Bible study in South Charleston, and you're able to walk out of the building with a bulletproof vest on, and they stop you at Burger King before they take you in. I mean, to me, that's amazing. Like that we can even have a conversation about travel bans when domestic terrorism still runs rampant.
How about,
and then
does it
additionally,
concern
let me finish my point. Secondly, none of the if we look at when the world really changed, when the culture really changed around terrorism, and when terrorism became a buzzword, we're talking about 9/11, right? Fair?
Right, yes.
Okay. If we look at where the hijackers from 9/11 came from, none of them came from any of the 7 countries.
Which country would you want him to put? You would feel better about him.
I would not feel better about any kind of a travel ban.
No matter where.
No, because
and why is that?
Because I don't think that's. I'm confident that that is not how you address an issue around terrorism. That is a piece of legislation that reeks of some of our nation's most not proud moments.
Let me ask.
To me, that is terrifying.
There was some years ago now. There was a beheading in Oklahoma at the workplace. This Muslim guy cut off this woman's head, and while cutting it off, he was shouting "Allahu Akbar." He attempted to cut off another woman's head, but fortunately they killed him before he was able to do it. At the military base in Texas, shooting, the guy shouted Allah. It was a Muslim. San Bernardino. And just time and time again, why don't you believe or support President Trump in putting a ban on this, temporary ban until we can clean it up, see what's going on, and then doing it in a different way? Why aren't you in support of that?
I'm in support of that because, the entire time that I was raised to be a Christian woman and a Christian black woman,
right.
I never saw Christianity banned for the acts of people like Timothy McVeigh, for the acts of people like Dylan Roof, and countless others.
But most of the terrorist attacks, if not all, most of them are Muslim. You don't see Christians doing that.
But I think you need to redefine what terrorism is, sir. What is terrorism?
Cutting off a person's head.
Is that your barometer for terrorism?
Killing up a group of soldiers and other people shouting Allahu Akbar.
Most of the terrorism is not Muslim.
Yes, they are.
I disagree.
Wait, can you give me an example of them not being?
I've listed several
but
in this
you gave me, but
conversation.
those were not terrorist acts. Give me the real deal.
Bombing a daycare center of children is not a terrorist act?
And how often do we have something like that happening from Christians?
Okay, so I'm going to encourage you and your readers to, do some research on the filed instances of domestic terrorism in the United States, and you'll find that the majority of them are not committed by people who are of Muslim faith.